Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to a discussion on overtone basics for the saxophone. Today we're going to focus only on the first note in the overtone series, and that is the octave. All of our saxophones, whether you're playing soprano, alto, tenor or baritone, are equipped with this fantastic key that we call the octave key. Now mechanically on all the saxophones it is in fact a split octave key, and by that I mean if you finger the note G on any of your saxophones and press the octave key, you'll notice that the highest key that we normally associate with opening when we press the octave key remains closed. But the second octave key opens and shuts down here on your saxophone, and of course on the saxophones that have the gooseneck, well, the top octave key is on the neck and the second of the split octave keys is on the body of the sax. So just be aware the saxophone does use a split octave key mechanism, but from the player's point of view, we just have to engage this single key with our left-hand thumb to shoot our note up the fundamental 8 steps of a major scale to the octave. On all of the saxophones, we're very fortunate in that the original saxophone design and the enhancements since Adolphe Sax invented the original saxophone have given us a unique combination of fingerings for every note in the chromatic scale. Now this is not the case on many instruments. Just have a look as I play the overtone series on a B-flat pocket trumpet. Now the notes in B-flat pitch that I just produced on the pocket trumpet are C, what we call low C on the treble clef, G, second line G, third space C, E on the fourth space, G above the music stave, B-flat above the music stave, and ended on a high C. Did you notice how many valves I had to press down to play that series of C, G, C, E, G, B-flat and C? Well, the answer is none, 0. I didn't even touch the 3 valves on the B-flat pocket trumpet. Now to play that same series of notes on the soprano sax, I would have to move my fingers to a separate fingering for each of those notes. Low C would be the normal low C on the saxophone fingering. G on the second line is the 3 fingers on the left hand. Third space C is just the second finger on the left hand. Now I would need to engage my octave key to play E in the 4th space on the music stave, leave the octave key on and play the G fingering, but with the octave key it is a unique fingering for G on top of the stave. B-flat fingering, I'd use the single finger plus the octave key here on the little bis key. And high C, I'd leave my octave key on and play the second finger high C. So to play the fundamental overtone series of the brass instruments on the soprano sax, it would sound and look like this. It's important to also note that not all instruments in the wind instrument family have an octave key. The flute has a key on the back of it that the thumb operates that some people mistake for an octave key. There is no octave key on the piccolo, concert, alto or bass flutes. The octave on the flute family is produced by the embouchure and the tongue level inside the mouth. You'll notice no finger, I'm not wiggling anything with my hands to produce a low F to an octave F. It's done internally by tongue level and externally slightly by a minute change to the embouchure. Now, given that our saxophones do have an octave key and that we already have a unique set of fingerings to produce every possible note in the extended chromatic scale across the full 2.5 octaves on the saxophone, a fair question is, why do we need to even consider practicing overtones on our instrument, given that the concept of overtones is where you play multiple notes using the same fingering? Remember on the pocket trumpet? where I played a C, a G, C, E, G, B flat and C using the one fingering, no valves on the pocket trumpet at all. It's a really valid question, and my mind's open on it. Some of the world's best players do not practice the overtone series, and probably 50% of the other fantastic players swear by it. Those that do practice the overtone say they get better control of their tuning, better control of their altissimo range, and just a better sound, a bigger, broader sound overall when they play the saxophone using the conventional fingerings as a result of practicing the overtone concept. So I've got an open mind on this, and I'll leave it to you to give the overtone practice a try and see whether it's improving your playing, whether it's helpful or harmful. Here's the exercise I want you to work on. If you're absolutely new to the overtone series, this is the best way to get a feel for what it's like to play overtones on the saxophone. I'm going to demonstrate initially here on the soprano sax. I will do this on my alto sax in a moment, just so that the E-flat saxophone players can get a feel for what their pitch is. But I want you to play third line B-flat. So on all of the saxophones, the best fingering for that is in between the normal B fingering and the little bisque key. Put your index finger on your left hand right in the middle of those two keys. So in fact, you're playing the normal B fingering and you've engaged the little bisque key. I recommend you use a metronome and just try and hold that pitch for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3. So no vibrato, just a straight tone. Now here's where the overtone comes in. What I want you to now try and do is play that B flat pitch that we just played, but play it using the low B flat fingering on your saxophone. All of the keys closed, but try and produce the same pitch. Now a good way to do that is to just join the two together. So play your first B flat for the 4 counts, and then drop all your fingers down to the low B flat and try and sustain the same pitch. Now the various saxophones, you'll find tuning issues. On the soprano sax, that first overtone tends to be really sharp. So when you try and play B flat with the low B flat fingering, you'll need to sort of humour the note flatter with your embouchure. On the alto sax, the pitch is closer. On the tenor, it goes a bit crazy as you go higher up, and the baritone sax is a bit all over the shop too. Really, the alto sax is the purest on the overtone series, but we're not looking to use the false fingering in our playing. We're looking to be able to produce that one pitch, like on the trumpet. We're now producing an octave higher than we're telling the saxophone. We're fingering low B flat, but we're not using the octave key, and we're asking the saxophone to play third line B flat. So let's put our metronome on, and we'll try now to sustain the B flat for 4 seconds and then the overtone B flat for 4. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Did you see me change my fingering from one finger to everything down, yet sustain that constant pitch? Now, like I said, on the soprano, you have to humour the tuning drastically as you do the overtone series. Some notes will be really out of tune. With the alto sax, we're doing the same exercise. One finger, the one finger on the left hand playing third line B flat. And when we go to the low B flat fingering, obviously it's a little bit more of a stretch with our left hand here, our little pinky to get that low B flat, but you have to have every pad closed on the saxophone. We'll put our metronome on 60 beats a minute, sustain 4 beats of both of those notes, changing to the low B flat fingering, no octave key, to get the overtone. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I recommend you really master that exercise before you try this next more traditional approach at the overtone series. This time we basically reverse the process and we play the fundamental note, the low B flat, the lowest note on our saxophone, and then whilst holding that fingering, we produce the octave B flat without changing anything. So this time we really are, like on the trumpet, producing that series. Our first step in the overtone series on the saxophone is actually an octave leap. So from low B flat to third line B flat whilst holding the low B flat fingering. 1, 2, 3. The important point there is don't cheat. Don't be tempted to touch the octave key to produce that octave. Force your mind's ear and the memory of what it felt like from the first exercise to produce that note whilst holding the low fingering to get you to be able to step up the octave like I've just demonstrated there. Now, once you get competent at doing these exercises, the first exercise and the second exercise on B flat, simply work your way up the low note fingerings. And I recommend to start with you just simply shift to the low B fingering, so the second lowest note on your saxophone, and do the same exercise but now on the note B, and then the low C fingering. I wouldn't go past that for an initial step of learning the overtone series. And to be honest, you'll get most of the benefits of the big, broad sound on your saxophone by practicing a simple octave leap on low B flat, low B, and low C. I hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction to the overtone series for the saxophone. I'll be doing follow-up tutorials and we'll take the concept much further. For now though, subscribe to my YouTube channel and enjoy your journey on the saxophone. Bye for now.